Well, only a couple of days in so far, but what's spring been like for you guys?
Yeah, a couple days into the actual practice, but just got a lot of leg work done in February just with meetings and installs, and so it's been good so far. Focus is good. Got a mature room, bunch of combined starts. A lot of guys are starting experience, so the maturity level is certainly at an all-time high. So it's been really good to watch those guys. Just with the mental efforts through the first 3 days, get pads on tomorrow, so get to see more of the physicality part of it, but the mental effort and the intensity has been there.
You've gone from building up a room where you just needed bodies to a point where you have competition at the tackle spots, competition inside. How different and how crucial is that for you?
Yeah, it's critical. I think competition breeds greatness. It's been a process. It takes years to build an O-line. Year one, we took some guys in the transfer portal that did such a great job for us. We had some older guys that were already on the roster, so had a little bit of a building base. And then year two, played a lot of younger guys that needed some reps. And now coming into year three, finally got some actual competition at different positions. So it's really good. I think that's what's driving the mental effort and the intensity right now, just watching those guys work in January and February and then through the first 3 days, because they know they got to come in and compete on a daily basis. So it's certainly been fun to watch, and it's definitely fun to coach.
Xavier and Mason, what did you see out of those guys where you wanted them coming out of the portal?
Experience starting at a high Power 4 level with Mason at USC and X at Virginia Tech, playing against like competition, with both those guys being in good leagues against good players. So that obviously jumped out at first for me, is you're bringing in two guys that are starters. Mason has started 23 games in his career, and X however many games he has as well. So you got guys that have done it against high-level competition. That's the first thing. And then you watch, both their tapes. They're different players, but both of them they're strong. They've got natural power. They've got length. The football IQ is very high because they've started for a lengthy period of time. So just a combination of those things really led us to those guys. And then once they got here on campus for both of their visits, just the fits, what I was looking for, what Coach Freeze is looking for in a player here at Auburn, both those guys really fit the mold for what we want for an O-lineman and a part of this team.
How much value is there to just them coming in and what that's able to give you guys as far as what you're able to do with the rest of the offensive line?
Yeah, it's very valuable. I mean, we now can keep Dylan Wade at guard, which is what we aimed to do last year, did the first part of the year, and then had to move him out when we were struggling. So it keeps him at his natural position, the position that he needs to play to give himself a shot at the best shot at the NFL. It gives us a chance, because I do think we got some other tackle like Too Tall, giving him a chance to now have some swing ability to play left and right, whereas in the past 2 years he's been totally locked in on right because we didn't have any depth to do it. So it builds his toolbox to help him out for the next level as well, to be able to play left, which is what he's playing right now in spring practice. It gives Tyler Johnson a chance to play right, which he's a naturally right-handed guy, so it's ability to play maybe a position that's a little bit more natural for him. So it just stabilizes the room. That's the best way to describe it. Takes a little pressure off some younger players to go in there and compete, and give them a guy to kind of look up to see how the mold is to be a good SEC tackle.
What does it mean to have some of those experienced guys back? Like, you mentioned Too Tall, you mentioned Dylan Wade, along with, the two guys you brought in.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think we were doing it the other day. I mean, I don't know the actual number, but I know that Too Tall started 20-something games since he's been in Auburn. Mason's got 2 years of starting experience. X has got 2 years starting experience. Jeremiah's a returning starter. Connor Lou's got starting experience. Braden Joyner has starting experience. Dylan Wade, Tyler Johnson started games. So just guys that have been in the fire and played against real competition. It just, again, like the previous question, it just brings stability. It brings that they know how to go practice. They know the level of intensity they have to practice because they've done it before in a live setting. So it's the more starts you got, the more guys that you have that have experience, the better opportunity you got to go and put the 5 guys out there that help you win ball games. So.
You mentioned some of those young guys, Braden, Tyler, Dre. How have they kind of developed?
Yeah,
So far?
Braden has probably turned into one of our better leaders on our team. I've said this for a while. He's got that alpha personality. He loves Auburn. I felt like last year when he was in the games and when he got into the starting lineup, the intensity and the passion and the energy just went up. And the guy has started big-time ball games for us. Kentucky has guys that are going to get drafted high in the draft playing D-line for him. He goes in the next week or however many weeks later and plays Texas A&M, who arguably have the most talented D-line in the country, and performs well in those games. So, having him and what he's brought to the table, he's playing center now and getting some reps still at left guard. So just building his toolbox as well to be able to play multiple spots has been very valuable for us and for him. But can't speak enough about his leadership for the team. Done a great job. Tyler's continuing. He's a year older now, getting another year in the weight room. Looks the best he's ever looked. I think he's like 325 pounds right now. So just looks big and strong for the first time since we got him here. So excited about, he's got a big spring ahead of him. Excited to watch him continue to develop himself in that way. And then Dre Carter, his first spring with us, and been really excited about the stuff that he's shown on tape the first 3 days. He's a big body that's an athlete that's got natural power. That's the prototype for a guard for our offense, especially in this league. He's done a great job. He's probably flashed maybe more than anybody up front the first 3 days just because we don't have a huge sample size for him. He went through fall camp with us, and then right after fall camp he got reps with the twos, but it was more scout team reps. And now he's repping in those groups and really showing what he can bring to the table and what we saw from him recruiting him out of high school, which is why he was so highly recruited. So,
Speaking of recruits, the freshmen that you brought in,
yeah.
What have you seen out of those guys?
Yeah, Brody Scholl is battling an elbow injury. Had to have elbow surgery pretty quickly after he got here, but doing everything he's supposed to be doing in all the other ways. So hadn't seen a lot from him, but just because he hadn't had an opportunity. But I've been very pleased with Ty Buster. I was really high on Ty out of high school. Just his athletic ability, natural power. He's got great length. He's playing tackle for us. I think that's the position he will play his career here. He's got very long arms. He's strong at the point of contact, great balance and body control. He's got his MAs, but he's a freshman going through practice for the first time in his career. So I think that years to come we'll look back on that, and he'll be a steal of the class amongst anybody in the country, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a really good player here for us, and he's a competitor, works his butt off, and excited about his path.
You said it takes years to build an offensive line. How do you feel about where the depth's at now? After 2 years being here,
Yeah.
feel like y'all are on the right track for that.
Yes, absolutely. I think we got. It's taken us. Time is not a popular thing sometimes, but it takes time to develop an O-line. You can't just. You might have really young, talented kids. You throw them out there, and we play the best competition in the country, week in and week out. There's no down team in our league right now. Everybody's good, especially on the D-line. And so you got to give guys opportunities. You got to throw them in the fire and see if they can mix it up. You got to give them years in the weight room. You got to give them years with Miss Danielle and our nutrition team to build themselves. And so those first 2 recruiting classes, we're kind of seeing those come to the top now. Like, obviously, we've known Connor Lew, but you can't sign – I wish we could sign 5 Connor Lews every year, but there's not that many guys out there like that. So him being able to play as a freshman is a unique thing. But then you have other guys coming in. Braden's really done a great job developing. And then Tyler Johnson's well on his way, continuing to be on his way. And then that next class, you're seeing Dre Carter and Favor actually kind of coming to, getting their bodies underneath them and starting to take shape. So I think our depth is there. We got to get better. We got to get better every day. It's the small things. We got to pay attention to small details because small things become big things. But they got to continue to work, and we got to continue to strive for our goal. And the competition is certainly going to help us do that.
Jake, you talked about Tyler a lot.
Yep.
Do you feel like he's now prepared to push and make that step?
Yeah, I think he's on his way to doing it. Tyler last year obviously started first 2 games for us, struggled at times, looked great at times. He's still young, but going in now to his 3rd year, I believe he's going to be physically ready. I think he's learned a lot from last year, coming out of fall camp on top, then struggling a little bit, and then having a little bit of minimal reps throughout the back half of the year. But I think he's seen what he needs to improve on. He now has those experiences to build off of, so I'm excited about him progressing. I think he's had a good first 3 days. He's playing right tackle for us, and I'm excited to see kind of how far he can push himself to take it. So.
Any other questions for Coach?